In a kingdom full of happiness and joy, the king and queen lived. They dreamed of only one thing, to have a child. When they had already lost all hope, their daughter was born. She was very sweet and beautiful. On this occasion, a great celebration was arranged, and many guests were invited to the palace, among whom were good sorceresses. They were given the warmest, most cordial welcome. But the king and queen made a big mistake. They forgot to invite another sorceress. She had not left her tower for many years, and everyone thought that she had died long ago. When the time came to give gifts to the princess, the fairies generously rewarded her with beauty, a kind heart, intelligence, a beautiful voice, the ability to dance and play various musical instruments. When the turn came to the last sorceress, an evil fairy, whom they forgot to invite to the holiday, unexpectedly entered the hall. Cutlery was immediately brought for her, but she felt that she was not received as respectfully as she should have. Pulling the goblet and plate away from her, she muttered a spell. The sorceress wished that on the day of her 16th birthday, the princess pricked her hand with a spindle, and from this she died. The queen wept bitterly at the wish of the evil sorceress, and the king ordered to seize the witch. But she had already disappeared with an ominous laugh. Fortunately, the last of the fairies has not yet had time to say her wish to the princess. She could not undo the spell, but promised that the girl would not die, but would only fall asleep deeply until she was awakened by the kiss of love. The king immediately ordered the destruction of all spindles in the kingdom. And then came the day of the princess's 16th birthday, the day that the evil fairy spoke about. The princess grew up to be a beautiful and kind girl. The king ordered 3 sorceresses to watch over her. Fairies guarded her like the apple of an eye. On this day, the king and queen locked the girl in a room to prevent a terrible event. But the princess did not want to be locked up. Suddenly, a door appeared in the wall of her room, which the girl had never seen. She heard strange sounds outside the door. Burning with curiosity, and not knowing what awaited her, the girl entered her. The door led into a dark room in which a woman was sitting with her back to the princess. She was spinning. The girl had never seen a spindle in her life. She became curious. The princess went to the spindle, touched it, pricked her finger and fell into a deep sleep. And that woman turned out to be an evil fairy who was very happy that her spell had come true. Now everyone called the princess Sleeping Beauty. Upon learning of the misfortune, the kind sorceress decided to put the king and queen and the whole kingdom to sleep until the girl awakens. Soon, such impenetrable thickets of trees and thorny bushes grew around the castle that no one could get through such a thicket. 100 years later, a handsome prince from another kingdom went hunting. Seeing from afar the towers of the abandoned castle, he remembered the old story about the Sleeping Beauty that his parents had told him. And the prince decided to get inside. He struggled to make his way through the impenetrable thickets of trees and thorny bushes. But in the end, the prince approached the gates of the abandoned castle. He walked around the entire castle, and looked into the throne room. There the prince saw the king and queen sleeping. Then, in one of the rooms, he noticed Sleeping Beauty. She was sleeping on a bed decorated with flowers. The prince went to the bed, looked at the beautiful princess, and felt love fill his heart. He could not restrain himself and kissed Sleeping Beauty. And at that moment, she opened her eyes and saw a handsome prince. The king and queen also woke up, as did the whole kingdom. They were overjoyed. And in honor of the bride and groom, the most beautiful wedding that the world has ever seen was arranged right there. Since then they have lived happily ever after.
A little mouse lived in one forest. He was very cowardly, and he was afraid even of the noise of the wind. All the animals in the forest laughed at him. And then, one day, the little mouse gathered all his wool into a fist, and went to the king of the jungle. The lion had just finished his dinner, and was dozing quietly in the shade, snoring loudly. The mouse approached him, and began to climb up the tail. All the animals were curious about what he was up to. The little mouse was very scared, but he tried very hard not to notice it. He climbed onto the back of the lion and stood before his friends with an important look. And then the lion woke up. With one movement he threw the mouse to the ground and growled menacingly. All other animals were very excited. They thought that the lion was about to swallow the mouse. But instead, the lion asked what he was doing on his back. Gathering all his will into a fist, the mouse asked the king of the jungle to take him under his wing, so that he would not be afraid of anyone or anything else. Because he was the most cowardly animal in the forest. And in return he offered his help. The lion listened silently to the mouse. But he could not understand how a small mouse can help a large and strong lion. At first he laughed, and then with a loud roar chased the insolent man away. The mouse instantly ran away, glad that the lion would not eat him. All the other animals ran after him. Some time has passed. The lion got hungry and went hunting. But he did not notice the trap set by the hunters and fell into it. The king of beasts hung in the air, caught in a hunting net. He tried to get out of it, but could not do it. And since the lion was the king of the jungle, he could not bring himself to scream for help.
No.
Besides, hunters could hear him. The animals saw the lion, but no one dared to come close to him. And the lion decided to trust fate, doing nothing. Quite by chance, the same little mouse was nearby. Seeing the king of beasts in the nets, he decided to help him. The little mouse climbed up the long tail of the lion, and when it reached the net, began to gnaw at it. After some time, a whole crowd of animals gathered near the trap. It was interesting for everyone to watch what was happening. Suddenly, somewhere far away, the cry of the hunters was heard. The animals got very scared and fled into the forest. But the mouse continued to stubbornly gnaw at the net. Eventually, the net broke and the lion freed himself from it. Without thinking twice, the mouse climbed onto his back, and they ran away. When the lion got to his cave, he apologized to the mouse. And he said that he had underestimated such a small animal, deciding that it would not be of any use. And for the fact that the little mouse saved the life of the king of beasts, now he no longer needs to fear anything or anyone. From now on, the lion takes him under his wing. All the animals, watching what was happening, laughed and applauded the brave mouse. Since then, the lion and the mouse have become best friends, and peace has reigned in the forest forever.